Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTBase.com. Welcome to this week's Commitments of Traders review. Today we're going to be looking at the 15th Commitments of Traders report, and we will start off this review with Cocoa, which has a 23% change in commercials positions. Just a reminder for subscribers, of course, you can see all market categories in the review. We're just going to be looking at a few. So in Cocoa, we experienced a 23% change in commercials positions, 26 in large speculators and 28 in small speculators. You can see that this is a bearish COT change signal, suggesting we may see a bit of a decline coming early next week. Jumping to the 5 years chart, you can see that we are moving away from this bullish extreme. Basically 2 weeks ago we had that bullish extreme which was building up, of course signaling this bottom over there, and of course there's plenty of space left to reach all-time or close to all-time COT extreme levels, which means this bearish signal could signal us a bit of a decline early next week. But from the COT extremes perspective, there is a good chance that this bullish extreme is still in place, pushing prices higher. The next market will be platinum, where we have this 22% change in commercials positions. Again, we are talking about a bearish COT change signal. Of course, if we jump back to the 1 year's chart, it's even more easier to see that. So it's a pretty decent change size, although you can see that throughout the week, platinum was gradually going lower. So the signal itself may be a little bit late for us. Doesn't mean that the price cannot continue its decline. But let's have a look at the extreme, which, as you may see, is basically from since September of last year, it's gradually increasing towards the bearish side of the market, and we are, well, you can see that roughly at 60,000 contracts, about 20,000 contracts more in case of commercials, and we reach that bearish extreme, which is, as you can see at this example that I'm just showing to you, or there could be some other examples, might be a even more obvious extreme, bearish extreme that could push the price of platinum way lower. Moving on to sugar, which has had a 13% change in commercials positions, pushing commercials below the zero line. You can see that they're barely below, with roughly 2,000 contracts net short, large speculators at roughly 13,000, my apologies, 16, and small speculators are taking the optimistic side of the market. The change size itself, of course, is a bearish COT change signal, suggesting some decline coming early next week. Now jumping to the 5 years chart, we can have a look at the extreme, which, as you may see, for quite some time has been in a positive territory. So a very bullish extreme in sugar. We haven't seen bearish extremes for quite some time, and of course we're not surprised, since if you look at the long-term trend, it has been downwards, and we're not surprised to see this bullish extreme in the market. Of course, due to this long time, there's a high chance that this can go on and on for many, many months or even years before the market starts to head higher. So let's move on and have a look at large speculators COT extreme. We have the Mexican peso on top of our list with an all-time extreme. And then on this 5 years chart, it's quite visible over here. So of course it's bearish, suggesting that the Mexican peso should decline compared to the US dollar. Of course, these extremes could be in a market for many, many weeks before the market starts reacting. So that's just a warning for anybody who's just starting off with COT analysis. All-time COT extremes seems to look very, very nice and very surprising, but they're not that surprising, and they could be present in the market for a long time. Bitcoin is the next market with a all-time extreme in large speculators, and there's an all-time extreme in small speculators positions as well. Of course, we analyzed this market last week. This is a new market at COTBase.com, and what I said then is still applicable over here. The fact that only small speculators are taking the upside, basically they're the ones net long, in itself seems to be a bearish signal to me. But since we have a very short period of history, it's not that easy to analyze this market. So it's an exciting new adventure, I would say, and we'll see how COT analysis can be effective in cryptocurrencies. And last but not least, let's have a look at live cattle, where we have an all-time COT Extreme in commercials and large speculators. Of course, we've been talking about live cattle and this extreme, and you can see that it has been increasing and increasing. What's interesting to see that after this top developed in the market, you can see that that the extreme just simply widened even to greater levels. So it's easy to see that the extreme has taken its effect, and of course there's a high chance and probability of this trend that started to continue downwards. So that was all for this COT review. Of course, you can do a much more detailed COT analysis if you check out the service. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope to see you next week. Have a great weekend. Take care. Goodbye.